Well, thank you very much, Betty Kialo. Of course, everyone looking at their clocks and their watches, tick-tock, the time is ticking. The president has not yet spoken to us, and some have even argued that some of this bad PR is what is causing us so much anxiety. That if you look at all the incidences from Peketoni, how long it took the government to respond, Westgate, the issue about the mattresses, and now, hours later, and we still haven't heard verbally from government officials that this is part of, this is playing into the hands of the Al-Shabaab.
No, I think His Excellency, if you remember the Westgate attack, it happened at midday, slightly after midday, and his speech came slightly before midnight. So he had to get the facts. I think the previous social media issues that have been going on, especially after he came back from the Middle East, whatever he said and the storm it caused, I think he's being careful. One of his political advisors, Mutai Ngunyi, had indicated even before that speech that if it was him advising, he would say, please do not speak until you have the facts. So I think His Excellency right now is holed up with his security men and all his officers, trying to get the actual situation. Because again, in the back of his mind, His Excellency knows. And by the way, President Kenyatta has a real touch with people. See, though he connects with people, he completely understands that the previous time he spoke, people are offended.
Okay.
So he's careful this time.
I think it's somehow different. You know, the Westgate incident is somehow different from these. These, we already know the number of people who are dead. And I think it's also common sense for the president to come out now, like in the morning, and say, these are the number of people who are dead. We're sorry this happened. But then the briefing can happen, happen later on. And I think that's what I expected as a Kenyan. That's my expectation. But maybe, because, for Westgate, it was mambo jumbo. Nobody knew what was going on.
I'm glad you've introduced the Westgate, which we'll get to in just a short while. But Mwenda, going back to what you were saying, how then do Kenyans earn back the trust of the security agents? Because if you look at any social media feed right now, be it Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everyone is making fun of the government. They have become the laughing stock. How do we trust people we make fun of?
First of all, we need to redeem our fighting force by killing these Al-Shabaab attackers.
Aren't we doing that?
This is almost 12 hours since the attack happened. In the military, for example, they have the dogs of war, actual dogs, the ones they parade at the Nyayo Stadium, Those dogs are trained for war. If they went to the spot where the attack happened tonight with their dogs and men armed to the teeth and asked the dogs to lead them to these people, even if they will walk for years, not hours, they would eventually, dogs are never wrong. They would lead them there. Actually, the only way to redeem its image right now, the government, is to prove to Kenyans, and I'm not talking about the gimmicks we had previously. I'm talking about we have killed them. KTN, come and take the pictures. Here they are. We can see Kenyans lined up in those pictures over there. We need to see the lined up bodies of the terrorists that were killed. That's the only way Kenyans will begin to be, look, you can hit us anytime, but we will follow you even if it's to the gates of hell, and we will get you and make you face justice.
I think for me it's very different. Sometimes when you follow the arguments on the so-called the Republic of Twitter, it becomes a problem. So I think the president or whoever is concerned, the authorities concerned with security, should be able to move beyond Twitter and Facebook and try and tell Kenyans, this is how we're addressing the matter. And to get back to what Mbinjiwe said, even if you kill 1,000 Al-Shabaab members, yes, Kenyans will say, we have a strong force, but that doesn't actually help. Because when you lose one person, that person has family. That person has children. He has a mother. He has a wife, probably. So how do you explain to them? So I think the best thing for us to do...
But Kasim, I will disagree with you on this one, because why do we, for example, when someone offends you, why do you have them go to court and you come sit down with your family and listen, and they are jailed, and you go out away feeling happy.
But
sometimes there's a feeling of justice has been served.
Allow me to interrupt before you even make your point. And a lot of people have said this time and time again, is that we have a defense ministry, we have an interior security ministry, we have a national intelligence service, we have people who are working round the clock to apparently collect intelligence to prevent situations like what we are seeing today. Why are we spending millions, if not billions, on these organizations and
billions
institutions?
In the last financial.
In these institutions, if we're not being protected, why am I paying taxes if I can't be protected?
Now, this is where government needs to up their game. As I said, just before you asked a question, you see, when we serve justice to the enemy, and in this case, when you make them pay for their sins, and there's no better way. When you kill, government is not like God. Government doesn't forgive killers; it kills killers. So we should follow them, even as I said, and I'm quoting this from Joe Biden, the US Vice President, even if you have to follow them to the gate of hell. Right now, as we talk, men should have been deployed. Let me give you an incident that happened when I was in the military some years back. There's a day some militias crossed the border by Mandera and captured a police station and took our guns away. President Moi was the commander-in-chief. President Moi gave an ultimatum. He said, I give you up to midday tomorrow to return my guns and my ammunition. While Moi was saying that, I was based at Moi Air Base. Soldiers came from Langata Barracks, and they were loaded in our Air Force Buffaloes, and we were flying them to the borderline, ready to go for our guns. Look, while the soldiers were being flown, our fighter jets went over and crossed the border and maneuvered over the airspace of that area where we thought the guns were and returned to Wajir Air Base. Look, it did not reach midday. The guns were returned by 6 a.m.
So are you telling me the president here is a situation because in Kapedo we had the same sort of narrative, bring back those guns by the end of Sunday?
They were returned, of course.
It doesn't
the
work
Kapedo
like
guys
that.
waited to be squeezed their balls to return the guns.
Let's give Kasim a chance. You don't think
it doesn't work like that with Al-Shabaab. If it sees Al-Shabaab indeed, it doesn't work like that. Because, who are you giving this ultimatum to? It's not like Betty here or Edith. It's very different when you're dealing with...
Listen, Kasim, these are not animals. These are human beings with ears.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we give them ultimatum because they didn't take our guns, but they killed our people.
Yeah.
The point I'm saying is we should exhibit a show of force right now. As the State House is making a statement, soldiers right now should be headed to the border.
But
so
ready to line up and
get this already in Somalia.
Okay, let me just bring back this conversation back to the surface because I feel like we're going into a deep... So you're saying we should ideally go the Uganda way, where we parade our military, our personnel, our equipment to scare, if nothing else, the enemy.
President Reagan said this, the famous US president. He said, we dare not tempt the enemy with our weakness. There is a day you do not show your enemy that you're weak. Sometimes the show of force is always the best deterrence. Look at those ragtag militias who tried to attack a military barracks in Mombasa. Before you know, half of them were killed right there on the spot. I can assure you the next time they think of attacking a military base, they'll think twice about it. The thing is, you should counter violence with absolute maximum show of force. Because even when Kenyans say protect us, what are they telling government? They're not saying make a speech. They're saying bring our security men. We want, after we work in the quarry, to go to bed and wake up alive, not wake up dead. So Kenyans want police, Air Force, and the military and everyone else to be able to protect our people. When the alarm was raised in the middle of the night, I'm sure somebody called someone and said we are being attacked. Did somebody respond with maximum force? No.
Kasim, you're saying this will not work.
And Kasim just showed me an SMS here. You showed me something on your cell phone. That
is this something that you can divulge on national?
He said people who are walking on foot, the residents reach the spot before the police. That's what he should just
allegedly.
That's
okay, but Kasim, you're saying that this sort of tactic will not work with the Al-Shabaab.
What I'm trying to say is this. I think with the Al-Shabaab or any other militant group in Kenya, we need a strategy where we need to start with the grassroots. You know, we need to buy the whole idea of the so-called war on terror. That is where the problem is. Because, you know, you can go use force today, tomorrow again you're relaxed. What happened? That is my biggest concern, Bijue. What I'm trying to say is this. Let's have a strategy in which we involve all Kenyans of all ages, all religions, and all sectors of the economy as well.
Okay.
And I think that way it can work.
All right, speaking of all religions, Sheikh Mohammed Khalifa has actually just given his 2 cents on this particular issue. A lot of condemnation, and this is what he had to say.
Tunalani mauaji haya kabisa. Hakuna Uislamu mahali popote unaoamrisha kufanya mauaji haya, na wala hakuna Muislamu anayeweza kuunga mkono kabisa mauaji ya watu wasiokuwa na hatia, watu ambao kwamba hawakudhulumu yoyote, watu ambao kwamba wanafanya kazi kwa manufaa ya kaunti hiyo ya Mandera. Haya mauaji sasa inaonekana wazi, wale wasioitakia nchi ya Kenya amani, wasioitakia nchi ya Kenya usalama na utulivu, walioshindwa kwa siasa, sasa wanaanza kutumia mbinu nyingine, kutumia ugaidi ili kufikisha ujumbe wao.
Sheikh Mohammed Khalifa intimating that it could actually be the workings of politicians. So again, we're hearing different narratives, which Mutahi Ngwinyi is saying we must interrogate all of them. But going back to the discussion, earlier on before this bulletin, somebody said by now, on September 21st, 2013, we were all one. The whole country had sort of thrown their support towards one direction. Why isn't that happening today? Why didn't that happen 10 days ago?
Yeah. You see, I'm not an expert in politics, but I mean, I'm a Kenyan. When Baba returned from abroad, he started a wave that was going around the country. And I'll tell you for sure, that was a serious wave. And people took cognizance of it. Then, while the wave was at its peak, Mpeketoni happened. And those of you that watch our politics, that wave of Baba sank with Mpeketoni. And so somehow we knew politics is the best way to counter political waves.
So are we saying that the reason why Kenyans are not fully supporting the people of Mandera right now and not as concerned as they were donating blood, asking for justice, is because of politics?
No, please, let me finish my statement. So why aren't our political, both divides of the political players united, like Westgate? I think we've not come to a point where we understand that national security cannot be politicized. Because look, this guy who you have shown on KTN, who said he traveled to Wajir, and his friend went to work. If I listen to his tongue well, and I tell you I've worked in the military, I can pick people's tongues and tell this one comes from here. That gentleman is likely from Nyanza. Look, those are brothers from Nyanza. Nyanza supports God. We hear people that have been killed today, some of them are from Central. Central supports Jubilee. Look, when we come to national security, it should never be CORD or Jubilee or Ramani or whatever. It should be our people, because it's the same man who will vote for the gentleman in the opposition